So the Premier League is on our doorstep. I'm very excited for a new season with Tottenham Hotspur. And you know what happens when the Premier League comes around? I've got to make some predictions. I did some last year. Some of my shouts were good. Some of my shouts were howling. But I've decided to change it up a little bit this year because one of my best mates, I'll intro him shortly. I've known him for years. He's now becoming a football content creator and he's a West Ham fan. So we all know the Tottenham and West Ham rivalry is a lot of fun. But here he is, ladies and gentlemen. It's Luke Bailey. His channel will be in the link in the description down below. And over on his channel, we've actually done the same sort of predictions, but for the Premier League in general. But on my channel, I'm doing my Tottenham ones, and he's going to react to them. And then he's going to do his West Ham ones, and I'm going to react to them as well. So, Luke, without further ado, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be on the Sonny Talk Spurs YouTube channel.
I know it's been a long time coming because I've always wanted to get you involved in something, but now you're exploring the world of football and not just music. By the way, Luke is massive on TikTok. If you haven't seen his music page as well, I'll be linking everything in the description down below. But we might as well get ahead with this one. And similar to how mine were last year, we've got the same categories, changed a couple, but we obviously start in the obvious place where we think our teams are going to finish in the Premier League table. And I'll kick this off. So I think after a good first season, personally, for Tottenham under Ange Postecoglou, I think he's going to go one step further and we're going to qualify for the Champions League and finish in fourth spot. What do you make of that?
Nice. I actually agree, to be honest.
Okay.
When I look at the other teams going for the Champions League, I just think it is a weak. I feel like you've got Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and then that spot is going to be like a fight between United, Spurs, Villa, maybe, depending on how the Champions League goes for them. Newcastle will probably be up there again. And do think West Ham will be there, like just below that. So
Mm.
when I look at the squads and the signings you've made, and if you make the signing of Solanke, then I do think you look strong. And if you can sort out your defense, then I don't see why you can't get Champions League.
Yeah, I just feel like, a lot of people, when they say like Ange has been found out, I think it's quite lazy, like Twitter talk or
Yeah.
journalism speak because I feel like with the right players, which he seems to be getting in Archie Gray, in Solanke, having a fit squad, expecting some people to hopefully turn their form around like Brennan Johnson, James Maddison, you just hope it would all click together for Spurs. And, we were close to getting fourth last year. Just, a couple of results didn't go our way. The last couple of fixtures, if we sort of replicated the form in our first few games, we could have gone that one step further. But I think, it's a good learning curve. I think the Europa League will be good for us as well in, bleeding some youngsters and getting them in and around the first team. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you're in agreement with that. See, for a West
I
Ham
know.
fan, you
West,
can
a
you
West
can be
Ham
quite.
fan. We're rivals, but I can be objective.
But
Are you
I
not
want to
worried
know.
about? Sorry, are you not worried about the Europa League, the Europa League? Because I forgot you were in that, and then I think
Hmm.
about your defense. I mean, do you have enough backups if Van der Ven gets injured or Porro gets injured? Thinking about it, I don't
I.
know who your backups are because I know Davies, is he still around?
Hmm.
He's a
Yeah,
left
I
back.
mean, in pre-season, we've had one of our youngsters, Jamie Donnelly, filling at left back, so he sort of covered for that. Jed Spence will stay at the club and he can cover both flanks. Right back, also Archie Gray can play there. Centre backs, you now got Dragerson or Van der Ven can also go left back. We were doing that towards the end of the
Yeah,
season.
that's true.
So you got Ashley Phillips, a few other youngsters. I think. And then we've got a guy coming in next summer called Luka Vuskovic, similar to your name, obviously. But I feel like, and he's like 17, 18, 6 foot four, absolute monster. So I think we are prepped in that area. It's just, people say about our defense last year. I think a lot of it was down to the midfield more than the defense. Like, our defensive numbers are actually all right. It's just the midfield was getting bypassed, and Ange didn't know what his perfect midfield was. So I
Mm.
think we're all right. Obviously we're shifting Emerson Royale on as well. So I mean, Thursday, Sunday is a bit of that slog, from doing it with West
Trust
Ham
me,
as well.
it's a slog. I
So,
I don't know how our squad survived it, to be honest. We're such a small squad, but we somehow managed to still do the Thursday, Sunday and survive and still finish high in the league. So
Mm,
I'll give credit to Moyes for that, to be honest. Because
yeah.
it can be done. It's just if you get like one major injury or a couple of major injuries, then that Thursday, Sunday becomes a lot harder.
And we had that last year, didn't we? Like we had all those injuries, and we were only playing one game a week, and then
Yeah,
obviously the cup
exactly.
games, which we were out quite early. So it is a tricky situation. But moving on now to where you've put West Ham. And actually, before I go any further, I just want to say, me and Luke are going to make this quite a permanent fixture on our channels, doing a little weekly show. But I feel like we need a name for it. So get in the comments down below. Also, if you do enjoy this concept, smash the like button as well. But yeah, we need a name. I was thinking some sort of West Ham Tottenham pun. So I guess that's for you guys in the comment section to come up with. But yeah, who or where have you put West Ham? Because I'm intrigued with this.
I've put West Ham sixth,
Okay.
which is
Okay.
a bold prediction, but my logic is look if you look at the window we've signed some like proper players, internationals, players of the year, Somerville player of the year in championship, and we're getting to Debo now, who is a
Mm,
major signing, I think.
massive.
We don't have European football, so it's that'll be a big plus, especially for the players that have been playing that for the past 3 years for us. And I do think our squad depth is actually really good. And who knows? I don't know what Julian Lopetegui is going to be like. I'm hoping that he comes in and is able. You know, when Ange came in, right, and you were like, "We want a new style of football," and everyone says it's going to take ages for him to implement it. First
Mm.
week, you were playing more attacking football.
In pre-season, we were
Yeah,
our first
exactly.
pre-season game. You could see signs of better passing, better
Yeah.
movement off the ball,
Yeah,
and
that's
whatnot.
what I've been seeing in pre-season. Like you can see what he's trying to do. He just doesn't have the players for it. That's why we were trying to sign so many. And if he can get that clicking quickly, straight away, I think we'll do a similar thing to you last year.
Mm.
So yeah, sixth.
I, I mean, I'll be honest, and obviously we'll explore this more on your channel with our table predictions. I put you as seventh because I just think technically I agree with everything you said. I just think obviously City, Arsenal, Liverpool, us, United, and Villa. I think are just might be that bit stronger, just because.
Yeah.
And I think like the negativity around United, I don't think they're as bad as people say they are. They're just like being hit with a negative stick,
Oh.
personally. But that's a chat for another day about United. But yeah, I agree. I think you're doing some really good transfers. I think this is also like a free hit season for Lopetegui. You will get tanked probably a couple of times. It's
Yeah.
inevitable. But I think, yeah, the players you've got, if you can keep the players, like obviously when we record this, when this goes out, the transfer window is still open. If you can keep a Paqueta for another year or a Kudus, I don't see like them really going. But you never know. Build that squad depth, which is what we're still doing at Spurs. And yeah, I think sixth could be viable. I think there's a lot worse teams than you, like even the likes of Chelsea, Newcastle, Palace. I can't see them claiming those upper spots. So I feel like this is your year to really try and get back into Europe. And you got the right manager. I feel like he's such a good acquisition for your club.
I think so. I think people are kind of underestimating him. He's won a Europa League title with Sevilla. He's managed
Mm.
Spain national team. He did manage Real Madrid. I know it didn't go the way he wanted it to, but Real Madrid don't just hire anyone. So he
He got
must
to
have.
that level, didn't he? So
Yeah,
it was
he's at
respectable.
that level. And Wolves. I mean, he came in when they were 20th, and they
And he
didn't
was
get
good.
relegated.
I think he was underrated at Wolves. And, I
Yeah,
feel like he wanted to do at Wolves what he's doing at West Ham. They just didn't have the finances for it.
yeah. I think he had bigger ambitions than what Wolves were offering. They didn't want to sign players and they wanted to sell their best players. So I think that was why he left. But now he's at a club where, we actually have some ambition. We do want to get back into Europe. I think now that David Sullivan got a taste of Europe, he's like, the finance are crazy. So he's like, right, well, we need to get back in there. That's why we're
Mm.
making all these signings. And the squad needed a massive overhaul. So I can't complain about this window. It's crazy. Getting Fulkrug as well, getting an actual striker could. I mean, West Ham and strikers. You know,
Oh, don't honestly.
it's like we're cursed, but I'm praying he's good. I'm hoping he is.
And it's good you mentioned strikers there because that takes us on to our next category and who we think is going to be our club's top goal scorers. And I'll go first. I feel like, Spurs play a different style of football now where we do spread the goals around a bit. Son, Johnson, Kulusevski, Madison are all like chipping in with goals last season. But and I say at the time of recording, it's not confirmed yet, but it looks like it's going to head in this direction. Solanke. Now, I feel like it's inevitable. He's going to score goals. And, it might take him a bit of time to adjust because new club, price tag, all that sort of stuff. But I just think from watching us last season, there were so many times, and I've said this to you like off camera when we met up last week, we created so many chances last year, had such high XG. It was our second highest goal scorer in Premier League season of all time, but
Mm.
we still missed so many chances because sometimes it doesn't fall to the feet of a natural striker like a Timo Werner, who, I think Timo Werner's a great winger for us and can zip a ball across, but there was no one on the end of it. Whereas Solanke on the end of these chances, I feel like he could have a really strong goal scoring season. So I feel like it's pretty self explanatory. You know, we're saying, will we sell Richarlison? I think it's good to just keep him at the club and like rotate them because again, so what Solanke has, what Richarlison didn't, is he's available, doesn't get injured. I think Richarlison played like 1,000 odd minutes and Solanke paid 3,000. So like the proof's in the pudding there, and that's I always say, and it's a bit of a lazy argument, but your best ability is availability sometimes, and just having like I don't understand the negative energy around this signing. I feel like we spoke about it, didn't we? Like it's a proven Premier League striker. Yes, he's had one good season, but that's what football's measured on now. It is a short term thing. If someone's done like scored 19 goals in the Premier League last season, to me that's like that is like imminent, and you might as well sign that player up because Ollie Watkins signed the same amount of goals and
Yeah.
everyone would snap their hand off for him. Isak scored the same amount of goals, and I know he's a bit younger, but I just think watching compilations, his movement, the way he presses, I think it just makes a lot of sense.
I like him. I think, yeah, I think what you're saying is true. It's not like he's just had a one season wonder. He has been
Mm,
developing. You can see his development.
yeah.
And I think he's at the stage in his career where he's just shown I can do it. So he can say to clubs like, well, I can do it. Sign me, bigger clubs. And I do think he suits you. The way
Mm,
you're playing, Werner and Brennan Johnson bombing down the wings, high and wide, cutting back, like, and you were just missing like that guy, that prolific striker. I know Son scores a lot of goals, but I think actually, I don't know. I didn't watch Son a lot, but I don't think he really enjoys the striker role. Does from what I've seen, he'd rather be on the left coming in, and that's where he's most dangerous. So getting a striker in is probably like your most important position.
mm. And I mean, I used you as an example of some playing striker because he had a few good games there. But when we're playing against West Ham, who are notoriously got two big centre backs and they're going to just be happy with balls flying in, especially under Moyes, you don't want Son with his back to go in that situation. You want a Solanke like to be there and hopefully dominate them aerially. But yeah, I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. Unless one of the other midfielders
Not
or wingers
Son,
chips in.
not
Son, I
Son.
think no, I think he'll get a good level, but I could imagine like he gets 10 to 15 and Solanke could get about just a bit more than that. So, and I don't even
Yeah.
think even if Solanke scored like 12, but Son scored 12 to 15. Like if we're having a few players who are chipping in with like that, that's what like you look at the likes of Arsenal or City. A successful team is all your players chipping in with goals. A centre back scoring 4 to 5 is like that's where how the different level of like being a dominating team personally. But I feel like I know who you're going to have as your top goal scorer because we've already mentioned him.
I don't think you do because I'm going Jared Bowen.
Okay, all right. I thought you were going to say Full Cook. He's going to score Premier League Golden Boot winner. He's going to
No,
do it all.
no, no. He's not that type of player. He's more. He'll score you plus 10 goals, but he'll also get you plus 10 assists. Like he's the type
Mm.
of player who will bring all the other attackers into play. And Bowen scored 16 last year. I think he can hit
Oh,
20. I think
really?
he's that level. He is that level. He can definitely hit 20 this season. And with
Mm.
Fulkrug as well, bringing him bringing everyone into play, I just think Bowen's going to love that.
Mm. I
I
mean,
can, I think he's going to be top goal scorer.
yeah, I mean, 16 goals in like a Moyes side is quite impressive. It was like sort of
Yeah,
when
it
Kane
is.
scored 30 goals in a Conte team. It's just,
Yeah,
the way we were playing. Yeah, do you know what? I'll be honest, I forgot Bowen. I feel like you're
yeah.
building such a squad. Like he stood out like a sore thumb a couple of years ago, but now you're getting a nice blend of like different sort of players. It's
Mm.
like,
We're
I mean,
signing all these pretty players, and then there's Gareth Bowen on the wing, hustler.
I know Hull's very own, but I feel like it. I don't like complimenting West Ham this much because it just makes me feel just. And it's a bit different when I talk about Arsenal and Chelsea because like West Ham are like down the list on rivals, but it's a yeah. I think full Krug. I think Somerville's gonna hit the ground running for you as well. And
I'm praying he's not another Ben Rama. Like
oh yeah, that's a good
when
comparison.
we signed Ben Rama, he was lighting up the championship. When we signed, we were like,
Mm.
mate, we've got the Algerian Messi here. But he came in and he was a lot slower than we all thought. We thought he was
Mm.
like blistering pace, passing everyone, but I think the championship it can inflate a player a little bit. But then you look at Bowen, it's like a different story. So with Somerville, it'll either be a Bowen or a Ben Rama,
Mm.
and I'm praying it's a Bowen.
Fair play. And now we have most assists. Do you want to go first with this one?
I've gone Fulkrug most of
Oh,
the.
okay. So, like the argument you were just saying, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, from what I've seen, and I watched Dortmund games last year in the Champions League, he is that type of player. Like he'll hold the ball up for us. He does those. He's almost like Giroud a little bit. Like he does those cute flicks. He's actually not that bad with his feet for a big man. So yeah, I do think he'll be able to get a few assists this season.
Yeah, I mean, I like him because everyone refers to him as like an old-fashioned number nine. But I think an
Yeah,
old-fashioned number nine does sometimes know how to link the play up and bring the wingers into the attack. But yeah, I think he's going to be a lot of fun. Even though he's a bit older and there's no resale and any of that, I think just for what you need until you can find someone else.
yeah.
I think
I feel
because
like we've accepted that.
I thought Solanke could have ended up at you at one stage. I felt like when we didn't know the striker market, maybe he could have gone to you, but alas, that is the way it is. And then for
I mean,
mine,
we've been linked with every striker, Tony,
yeah.
Solanke, everyone. Everyone knew we needed a striker, so we're just like, oh, well, we'll
Mm.
link with West Ham.
The only other thing I thought you could have done, but this might have been a bit unproven, is you could have signed what Dortmund did was obviously they moved him on and then brought in Garassi, and you could have like a bit younger, a bit cheaper as well. I mean,
I
I don't know,
think
but
I feel
again, could
like
he
what
step
our
up?
board or what the director of football team started, I feel like what he's trying to get is this balance of experience and then younger players coming in and developing. And because I do think they definitely want to get European football back this season, is what
Mm.
I'm gathering from the signings. Fulkrug is proven. Rodriguez, the midfielder we got, he's proven as well. He's 30 years old. And then we've got Somerville 22, Todibo 24. Uh, and we got some good youth players coming through already. So that's what we're going for, I think.
Good to see. And we're recording this on Friday evening, and I've just seen an email saying from Talksport saying that the deal for Solanke has been agreed. 55 rising to 65. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, for my most assists, you mentioned him there around my top goal scorer. I've put Son because he's going to be more on the wing, more, to the byline sort of player. Will cut in because he likes to, and he will get goals, I think, as well. But I just think I can see him linking up really well with Solanke, with Madison again this season, and just being maybe a bit more of a creator. Obviously, still got a bit of his pace. He's not as electric as he
How
was when we first signed
how
him.
old is he now?
Son must be, is he 31? I always get confused because there was that thing where apparently he was older or younger than because the way Korea do records. He's 32. And he's just turned 32. So I think after this, I think he'll have one more season and
Yeah.
then it'll go. I don't know where we'll go actually. Maybe back to
How old is
Korea.
he?
I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know because he's never really financially driven, is he? And he's not
Oh, that's
trophy
true.
driven either. So
We'll have to see how well he does this season. If he's still playing at the highest level, scoring goals, it probably I could see him going back to Germany, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, I remember when he was at Leverkusen, he was just so good. And the thing is, he's such a good asset for the club because he's such a good you know, we have such a big Korean fan base now. We
Yeah.
do a preseason tour 2 years in a row now in Korea. We've obviously signed another Korean winger who looks really good, but you can tell Levy is thinking he loves the Korean
Commercial.
fan base. Yeah, yeah, of course, like a world club sort of thing. But I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think Son has been amazing. It's just a shame he hasn't had a trophy like all these players to really, it'd be good because he's captain now. If he could try and lift us a trophy this season, but we'll get onto trophies later on in the conversation. But who will be your club's player of the season? We'll go with you again.
On Mohamed Kudus.
Okay,
I
okay,
think
I like that.
this is the year where I think everyone takes notice of him, to be honest. I know
Mm.
people already know he's good, but he could be sensational, like top level Manchester City style player. He's that good. And I just think this is the season where he just he's let basically he had an interview where he said Lopetegui's going to or basically let him off the leash and let him do like actually create and be a proper winger rather than having to track back all the time and play the Moyes ball. So I just think he's going to light up the Premier League for this season. He's going to be unreal.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll add to that is I can't believe United didn't sign him because of Eric Ten Hag's policy of basically picking up players he knows and he knew him and he's better than Anthony. And and another thing I'll add actually is a lot of people are comparing Spurs fans. Why didn't we sign him over Brennan Johnson? And the argument is, I know they're both wingers, but they're different types of wingers.
Yeah,
And what probably we need, like what Johnson's good at, is he does need to improve it as well. Is getting to the byline and crossing really those zippy balls. When he does that, he's really good. Obviously, he scores less goals. Kudos scores more goals. So because of the way he's a bit more direct and dribbles down the
yeah.
middle.
He
But
likes to
I
take
also
players on.
yeah, and I think as well, like the way I saw it as well, last 2 years our home quota has not been good. Him being
Yeah.
Welsh helped out a lot. And Kudos being Ghanaian. It might be that. It might literally have just come down to something like that. You just don't know.
I think at the time people were saying everyone was saying Anthony was better at the time, one.
Mm,
And I think with Brennan Johnson, he was Premier League proven. Kudus
mm,
wasn't. He came out of Ajax. Ajax is always, you never know what you're going to get. They'll
yeah,
either
it's
do
true.
really well or they'll just flop. I mean, Delict was looking like he's going to be the greatest centre back of our
Donny
generation
van der
at one
Beek.
point. Donny van der Beek, yeah. So you never know what you're going to get. And we took the gamble
Mm,
and it's paid off. It could have flopped, but I mean, he's really good.
no, I do like him. Again, as I've already said it, I get jealous of some of the players you are building in East London. I should say. I nearly said West.
Little old West Ham.
I know, West Ham. But my player of the season, I'm putting a lot of faith in him, so I really hope he don't bloody flop.
Dominic.
Is Yeah, I'm gonna go with Big Dom. Big Dom. I think that's
Big
what
Bob. Yeah.
Dom. Everyone's gonna start calling him Dom. Dom Littlewood. Dom whatever.
How did he score then?
How many? See, I've already had a bet with my mate who's a Liverpool fan. I already think he's gonna score more than Darwin Nunes. Um,
Interesting.
I think he could score like 18, like similar numbers to we got this year. Just think about
Yeah.
it this way: in that Bournemouth team, and we saw how they grew under Iriola, who they play a similar sort of attacking, free flowing football. I just think if he can score 19 in Bournemouth, and don't get me wrong, this is not me downplaying Bournemouth. I think they're a really good team. And and they've got good creative like attackers in Cliver, for example, and so I feel like he could get similar numbers. I feel like it's not going to be as a bigger jump as people are predicting, and I don't think I'm repeating myself a little bit here. I just don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks this move is going to be, and I feel
I
like
think it's the
you
fee. It's the fee, isn't it? 55 million. People see that.
is that a lot though in the modern market
It's
for a Premier
not.
League, right?
It's not, but I feel like football fans still, when you see a big fee and you see a Bournemouth striker, it's just like a natural reaction to say, "Well, that's too much money for a Bournemouth striker." But he will guarantee. I think he guarantees you at least 15.
Mm, yeah.
Like he's a good striker. You've got a lot of attacking talent, and you play attacking football. So I just think he slots straight in. But then there's the argument of like, does a striker ruin the like flow of what Ange was doing last year? Does he really want a striker?
I mean, but we were playing Richarlison there, and
Yeah,
like
and
and
he got
so,
Richarlison firing at one point.
exactly. Like if it weren't for his injuries, I think Richarlison would have still got some good
Yeah,
numbers. I'm looking at last year's Golden Boot. Apart from obviously Erling Haaland, who is not from this planet, and then Cole Palmer, who have had an amazing season, a lot of them with penalties. Like you look at the numbers of like Isak 21, Watkins 19, Solanke 19, Foden 19, Salah 18, Son 17, Bowen 16, Saka 16, Mateta 16. I even saw like people, I saw a Spurs fan comment saying, well, why didn't you just go for Mateta? And I'm like, but that looks more purple patch than Solanke, I feel like. And,
yeah. And at the time, no one wanted Mateta. No one wanted Mateta
yeah,
at the
yeah.
time. Like he's had a good. He's fresh in the memory, isn't he? Because he's had a really good second half of that season. I feel like all the
Mm,
Palace players are really
yeah.
fresh in the memory. That's why everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Elise, as I know Eze's good, but Mateta, yeah, yeah." But Palace one won't let him go. I don't think, considering they're
No.
letting two of their biggest players go already, and he probably cost you like more than Solanke.
Yeah, they'll put their foot down on that.
Yeah, and
But
Solanke's basically the same, and he's homegrown.
yeah, exactly. There you go.
I think it makes
Again,
more sense to get him than Mateta.
it's a sensible transfer. Like I feel like that's the best,
It
and
is.
that's what the Athletic call their series as well. But I just think it
Sensible.
makes sense. But yeah, flop of the season though, and I'd be honest, and you might be the same as me. I'm in jubilant mood ahead of this season, so it
Yeah, so
was really hard to think of a player who is not going to be good. So I've gone for a player, and I've based it on. I feel like one, they could eventually get moved on in the next year,
mm,
and two, their injury record hasn't been good. So I feel like that's the reason they'd flop because it's like, what are we going to do with this player? And it's Richarlison. I just feel like he
yeah.
did have a good campaign last year for his standards after really struggling in his first year, but I think injury is really hitting him bad. Even like with towards the end of the first game against Leicester, we the only two injuries we got are Destiny Udogie, who's just come back from surgery, and Richarlison's still got question marks over like, is he fit enough? He wants to really crack on and be the starting striker.
When he said he wants to stay and fulfill his dream? What is his dream? Like to get
I've
out of Tottenham and go win a Champions League or something? Or
do you know what? I think I actually think his dream is something that he went to then talk about in that interview. That the fact is, he wants to be Brazil's starting striker at the next World Cup because he's sort
right?
of gone down the pecking order. And
Yeah,
in Qatar, he was amazing. He scored that bicycle kick, and everyone was like, there is a player there, and I like his attitude. He does love the club, and that's why I thought when I saw people saying you got to get rid of Richarlison to get Solanke, and I thought, why can't they both work? Why
well,
can't
yeah,
you just
you need like quality pushing Solanke. I mean,
mm,
Richarlison's going to be thinking, well, who's this Donny? I want to like, he's not taking my position. And then
yeah.
Solanke's going to be coming in saying, Richarlison's washed. I want it.
But no,
That's what you want.
yeah, you want like, and even like there could be a game where Richarlison plays on the left. He's done that against
Yeah,
Liverpool.
he's utility, and he can play
Yeah,
wing up front. You could even play two up front at some points.
And Thursday, Sunday, Richarlison might
Exactly.
be using the
You're gonna
Europa
need
League.
it. You're gonna
People
need.
just people just don't understand. Like you do need a squad sometimes,
Yeah.
and you can keep that squad happy. I've seen stuff like Julen Alvarez leaving City. It's like you're not going to disperse Haaland. You were never going to disperse. Like we had an issue at Spurs a few years back. We could never get a backup to Harry Kane because there's
Yeah.
no backup to Harry Kane. But
No,
it's
it's
different
not.
now.
I think
So
with Alvarez, it was like he's just so good playing back.
mm,
It's crazy.
mm.
And he won World Cup. He's probably thinking, "Well, I've won everything, and I'm still a bench player." But anyway, that's not a Spurs or West Ham player. Sorry,
Yeah. So who is West Ham's flop of the season
West
in your
Ham
opinion?
flop of the season, Thomas Suchek.
Yeah. Oh, I'm surprised you gave him a new deal. Like, why didn't you just let him
Yeah,
go?
well, I think more. I don't know. I don't know
You
why.
don't have an answer, do you? You're
I
like,
love him.
oh.
I do love Thomas Suchek. What
Yeah.
he does and what he brings, animal of a player. At one point, he was anyway. But yeah, with the new system, his passing is so poor. It sticks out like a sore thumb, and I just don't think Lopetegui is going to be able to fit him in. It maybe he becomes like a Fellaini. So like, do you know what I mean? Like, if we're losing the game and we're desperate,
Oh
Thomas
God.
Such. Imagine you're losing the game last 10 minutes and you bring on Mickey Antonio, full crook up front with Thomas Suchek, and you just absolutely lob that ball in the box. That could be quite. It'd be entertaining at least. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think in terms of like a starter, he's probably gone now. I think he'll be a bench player or he'll move to Fenerbahce. I think he's linked with Mourinho.
Oh, that's. I
That's
mean,
it.
I was listening to a Football Cliches pod the other day, and like literally the stuff that Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, and Besiktas do in that league of just like bringing
Yeah.
people over, and he could probably do it with a hair transplant as well over in Turkey. So I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him for that. Next we have most improved, and again I struggled with this because no one really popped out, and then the more I thought about it, the player that I picked for Spurs, he obviously started last season really well. Then he went on and got injured, like half the squad did. And then when he returned, he just wasn't picking up that form. Uh, Again, he hasn't had the best of pre-seasons in terms of he hasn't scored or assisted, I don't believe. But I just think with Solanke coming in, and I feel like there was moments where James Maddison, he was trying to take a game by the scruff of his neck, sort of
Yeah.
dropping deep, dispersing, and it's like just be in and around the box, mate. Like drive with the ball and do what you were doing at Leicester. Do what you're doing in those first 10 Premier League games because when and I feel like this is the case with some players like Cole Palmer as well, whoever, when they don't necessarily think, when they just like Grealish as well, when they just play with
Yeah.
the ball in front of them and just sort of out off the leash, as you said with Kudus, they can just be mesmerizing, like Gaza type players. Whereas I feel like last season there was just moments where he's just thinking like, I need to play this 40-yard pass, and it's like gets intercepted by the fullback or whatever, and it's like just we've got so many creative players in like our team now. Even the way the fullbacks drive with the ball, you don't have to. And he's the vice captain as well, so he
Yeah.
feels. I'm not sure if he feels like there's pressure on him, but I feel like
Right.
he's still young. He can still like go on to do great things at this club.
It felt like Ange changed his role mid-season when he came
Mm,
back. Like when I saw you play him, he was picking up the ball so deep. It just felt like he couldn't get up the pitch quick enough to get towards the attacks because he was the one starting it from the middle of the pitch.
mm,
And the attack's already like because you got these bombing wingers, they're down the pitch quicker than he can actually get there to get into the box to do his magic. Like I don't know if
mm.
that was Ange's fault. I don't know if that's him like getting frustrated that he's not getting the ball and then dropping deep to come and get it. But that's what it seemed like watching from the outside. I think he's a baller. He just I don't know. I don't know what he needs. Maybe he needed Solanke.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
he
think
does.
that's
Maybe he needs that striker to play off and have someone to feed constantly.
and what you got to think about is the way our midfield started. We had Basuma who was on form, Sarr who was like our breakout star last year, and then
Yeah.
they went off to Afcon.
Bentancur.
He got banned. They got injured. So we just didn't have the same midfield all the time. So, when Basuma was driving and passing the ball and Sarr was basically being box to box, it does disrupt. And then you got Højbjerg in there, like
Yeah, he's
being
crap.
basically
You
rubbish.
got Archie Gray though this season, ain't you?
So that's
So
good.
does he go straight in?
I think he will. I feel like he's had an amazing preseason. He looks really good. I think our midfield for the Leicester game will be him, Madison, and I don't know who the last player would be. Maybe Sol, maybe Bergvall. Like, I feel like if in a dream world, I'd to keep it to start. I'd have Gray. Oh, would Basuma just start? Maybe I think for the first game they'd go Basuma, Sol, and Madison just to keep it light. But then bleed him in because he has been playing. Like he played a couple of games at centre back randomly, Archie Gray, because we didn't have Ribeiro and Van de Ven. He was really good from centre back as well. So honestly, he's not actually on my list. I've not put him in any of my categories controversially because I feel like he's like a first team player-ish. So for
Yeah,
like most improved and breakout and stuff like that, I thought I'd put niche players.
could have been
So
Breakout. I saw one Tottenham fan saying he's going to be Young Player of the Year. So
oh yeah, well I mean
we'll
that is true. He's
see.
he's he's 18, isn't he? But who have you put for most improved?
Kudus.
Yeah, I thought you were
Like
going
I
to
said,
say him because of what you
like
said
I said,
earlier.
I feel like that. Yeah, he's just gonna. This is the year where everyone notices just how good he is.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
the was it handbrake down, off the leash, all
handbrake
the
down.
same.
He's off the leash. Unfortunately, I do think this is the year he shows everyone, and then Liverpool just Salah leaves
Yeah,
and they gotta get Kudus. And I'm like, oh well.
and how old is he?
Oh, he's only like 24.
That's good. Yeah,
So
he'd be there long term, wouldn't he?
yeah,
He'd be better than
yeah, I
Gakpo,
hope we
better
get a
than
big fat fee for him, and then we can invest it again.
yeah. Sounds good. Right, moving on then. For last couple of categories. So we got breakout star. Now I'm between two people for this, but I might save my rogue prediction involves the other player, so I might leave him out. So I think our breakout star is going to be Lucas Bergvall
I have no
because
idea who that is.
I mean we signed him obviously in January and loaned him back to his club in Sweden. He's obviously part of this new thing that Spurs are doing with like low with talents like scouts looking at the data and picking up players. He's
Yeah.
been compared to Modric in pre-season, which is obviously very over the top. And if he's anything like Modric, then we've got a player on our hands. But he's just comfortable with the ball to feet. He's a good dribbler. He's direct. He's a good eight. So I just think, and a lot of people, when he came back to the club I say came back, joined the club properly in the summer, everyone was like, oh, this guy, he's going to go on loan again. He's 18. But he's formed a really good relationship with Archie Gray. They get on like house on fire, and he looks like he's going to be in and around this first team squad. I think after his first season, Ange is going to put more faith in the youngsters because, if you remember when we played Man City, he decided to go with Emerson Royale and Ben Davis at centre back instead of Ashley Phillips and Alfie Dorrington from our academy. But
Yeah.
I think that's just a learning thing of what, like, in the first season, these managers don't know their squads. So I'm going to go with Bergvall. I advise you if you want to go and look at some compilations. He does look absolutely mustard, and he looks like your typical Swedish guy as well, like blonde curtains, like your sort of thing. And
Yeah.
he's just very, very, very good on the eye as a player. So sounds like I was saying he was good looking there, but he's but no,
Were
he's
you?
really good. No, no, I wasn't. But what do you think
My
in regards?
breakouts. I don't know if you'll know my breakout star. We've got an academy player called George Urfi.
Yes, that name rings the bell. That name does ring a bell.
He's. I mean, he's next. He's meant to be our next big academy product. Like
Did he
he
score for you?
he scored last season, yeah, when
Yeah.
he got the bench, and then he got concussion by Thomas Suchek.
That's why he's your flop of the season as well.
Imagine big 6'4" Suchek and little George Urfi 5'7". He's gone up for the ball and Suchek's come in like this, bang, and he was
Amazing.
knocked out. But he's come back and he just looks like I think it's similar to the player you've said. He's great on the ball. He
Mm.
looks like he can pick out a pass. He gets into the box. He's scored a Premier League goal now. Like he looks good. Everyone in the West Ham like camp saying he's like a little David Silva. He like picks up little pockets
Okay.
and stuff like that. So I mean, we've not had a player like that ever. I don't think so. Yeah, he looks good.
I think what you need to do, and hopefully this happens on, I say hopefully, I don't want it, but under Lopetegui this might happen, is you were literally known as the Academy of Football. Like the
Yeah,
players that West Ham would bring through, like Defoe, Joe Cole, Frank Lampard, like these are the players who, don't get me wrong, they're like upper echelon Premier League legends, but you haven't really, apart from Declan Rice, and it's similar to us, we're literally in the same boat. Apart from Harry Kane, who have we brought through? Like
yeah,
Ollie Skip, Ryan Mason, like it's the same midfielder every year, and they're only kept around to keep your home quota happy. We want to, like, our academy. I don't know a lot about the West Ham academy, but at the Tottenham academy at the moment, there are some players who are standing out and actually like in and around the first team now. Don't get
yeah,
me wrong, like there's they're not all going to get into the team because that's not how football works. We wouldn't be signing Solanke if we didn't think we could give that 100% faith in another striker. So I
yeah.
just think, I hope that, because at the moment, academies are just seen as money makers. Like, look at Chelsea.
I think every West Ham fan wants to bring through academy products. It's just I think up until recently we've not had any that apart from Rice, but we got him off of Chelsea. Um,
Mm,
yeah, well, our under-18s won the league and the cup last
mm,
season, right? And we were all thinking, oh, right, Moyes is going to start using some of them in the team, and David Moyes did not use he only used them when he was forced to, and he threw them on in the Conference League when we were already through. Like, I get that's when you should do it, but other than that, like, he just did not waver from his starting 11. He had his favourites, and he just
mm,
did not bring them through. I don't know if that's because they weren't good enough
mm.
or Moyes, that's just the way Moyes is. But I'm really hoping Lopetegui is not like that. And he's been doing it in pre-season using the youngsters and stuff. So I'm hoping they'll actually bring we've got a few that I think could make it. So
Mm.
hopefully.
Right. This one, I mean, we've been getting on quite well here, but we haven't clashed yet. But I feel like this next one could be where we, you know,
Are you going to
square up
say
to each
Tottenham
other.
are going to get a trophy?
I am gonna say this is the year. This is the
Every
year that
year, every year.
this is no. Last year I said no because I said it's Andy's first year. He's gonna keep and
Right.
literally out of the Carabao Cup in the second round because we weren't in the third round because we weren't in Europe, and then out of the FA Cup at the second stage, because or was it round four because we played Man City and we played quite well, but you know what happens when you play well sometimes in the cup competition. You
Yeah.
get a header and Vicario gets bullied at the back post.
Oh yeah,
But
no,
I
that's
think
fine.
I think this year, and I can tell you what trophy it's going to be as well.
Yeah, which one? Don't say Europa
So
League.
I'm
You
going to
said
book the
Europa
flight.
League.
I'm going to book the flights to Bilbao and I've been to Bilbao. It's lovely, the Basque country. And we are lifting European silverware once again because there's
Your
only one
first
team.
trophy in about 50 odd years, 60 odd years is going to be.
50, 60. No, sorry. You've been playing that.
I
Like,
know you've
see, I
got
knew
a
we were going to
carrot, you
clash
got a
here.
carrot, you got a Carling Cup in there somewhere.
Carling Club. See, I'm glad you called it what it rightfully should be called. But I just think, North London, we're the only team in North London to win the European trophy twice. I just think, do you know what it is? It's because I feel that competition, it's the format change that I like.
Yeah,
Champions League teams are now not dropping into it. It's now the league structure. At first, when I saw this, I was like, I'm not sure
yeah,
about
that's
this. But the
annoying.
more
That's
I
annoying.
like it,
You do that now.
yeah. But you've won your what's it your
Yeah, we won
community shield thing.
the conference one, the Community
Yeah.
Shield. Oh, God, that's fine.
The JPT of
Yeah,
Europe. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you couldn't win it.
I
Sorry.
mean, we got kicked out
Yeah,
because it was unfair. And yeah, but then even like Carabao Cup, I hope we give it a go because I think what it is to me, and it doesn't annoy me as much as it does some people on Twitter and that, but it is a monkey on our back, this whole trophy. And I think like when we do it, I mean, first of all, when we do it, I can imagine people will be like, "Oh, it's only a Carabao Cup," or if it is, or whatever. But it does just sort of,
We do to us.
it
Everyone
just,
does
it
that
just,
to us.
but it just, it's like West Ham doing like, when you've won that, you've experienced silverware. It is
Good,
such a
good.
glorious thing.
I never ever thought I would see West Ham win a trophy, mate, ever in my life. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, do you think
It's a
you're going to
good
get another
feeling.
one this year?
No, I would love
It's,
to think. I've all. I would love an FA Cup. Oh my God, I would love an FA Cup. Every
yeah,
West Ham fan wants an FA Cup again. I wasn't
yeah.
obviously I couldn't see us win when we did win it. Wasn't alive. An FA
Yeah.
Cup would be absolutely glorious. I just don't see it happening. I think Lopetegui needs to concentrate on the league,
Mm,
um, get us back into Europe, and then we can maybe start to think about going for trophies. But you never know. I'm trying to be realistic. The dream is an FA Cup.
mm. I mean, I don't even remember the last time you really got to an FA Cup final. The only one that's really notably talked about is
Liverpool,
the Cardiff one.
Liverpool,
Yeah, it was. Oh, it was that. Yeah,
2006, 2006 Liverpool. I
yeah.
was like 8 years old, and Steven Gerrard scores that last
Oh,
goal. Oh
yeah,
my God,
beauty.
that that was soul crushing.
Yeah. I remember that final really well, even though we were very young at the time. Right, the penultimate one. Will your manager, so Ange Postecoglou or Julen Lopetegui, be sacked this year? I feel like we're both going to be on the same page here. I've said no.
Surely
Uh,
not. Surely.
I mean, well, it depends where you are or where we
If he
are. Or
doesn't, well, everyone there's two camps in the West Ham fans, right? Some think he's going to do
yeah.
a Pellegrini, and he's going to absolutely will
Oh,
be
yeah, I've
all
seen
these
that.
players, and then he can't get them to gel, and he's this like Spanish. Oh, we got a Spanish manager. He looks nice, but he doesn't actually do it. And
Uh,
then others are like backing him, and we actually wanted Moyes to eventually leave, and this is the manager
mm,
that's going to take us forward. And I'm hoping it's that that version.
yeah. I mean, I don't think Lopetegui's going to be sacked. I think he's going to have an Ange season given a chance. I think it
I
is going to
think so.
click. You are going to do all right, but you are going to have moments, and the fan base has just got to not storm the pitch again and put a corner flag in the centre circle and, you know, go up to
Yeah,
the
well,
director's box and
that
chant
was a
whatever. And
that was a fun time. I was in the stadium when that happened. That was
were
funny.
you? I didn't know
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Burnley.
Oh yeah.
That was
Oh,
fun.
that's oh
Yeah, that
right.
was enjoyable.
Right. Now, this one I like this prediction because you can literally
Oh,
say whatever you like, and you're either going to get clipped up and everyone's going to ridicule you, or you could absolutely come up with a gem. I want to hear yours first. What is your rogue prediction for the season?
all right, this is
I'm
might be
excited.
mad. I've said to Debo is going to get into the Premier League Team of the Year. It's a rogue
I,
one.
I don't hate that though.
He's got the ability from what I've seen, and if
Mm.
Juventus are desperate for you, that says a lot about you as a player. And the Premier League is not lit. I mean, actually, yeah, it is. Saliba, Van Dijk, Gabriel. Maybe I've not thought it through, but
You missed one name off that list, but or two maybe.
Van der Ven will be playing utility left back most of the season.
God's sake. No,
But
I don't hate that because like
yeah,
it's up for grab. It depends on my one worry for you is Kilman. Is he gonna and also replacing
it
two centre backs in one season is tough.
was needed though. Did you see Zuma's knees? Fucking
I
hell.
mean, I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad he's gone because he was absolutely wow. I mean, the best thing he ever made contact with was that cat. So no cats were harmed in the making of this video.
I prefer not to speak.
uh, my road prediction is so it involves a breakout star.
Right.
He's just signed his first professional deal with the club, old Mikey Moore. And this one's a bit weird because I don't necessarily mean he's going to turn into him overnight, but this season, Mikey Moore will become Tottenham's next Harry Kane, is how I wrote it down. But I mean, he's going to be our next academy star who everyone goes, wow, look at this guy. He's actually
Is he a striker?
so he's sort of like a midfielder come striker. He's like a hybrid between a midfielder and a forward. So he sort of links the play up. So
Yeah.
I don't mean Harry Kane as like he's going to bag the golden boot or anything like that. I just
30
think
goals next season, yeah.
he's gonna put his name on the map and then be like people already chanting he's one of our own. So it's like that sort of
Oh, okay.
next step of. So it's not as rogue maybe as I'm playing it down at the beginning. I was like, Mikey
I
Moore is
think
going
it
to
is
win
a
the
bit
golden
rogue. I
boot.
mean, you
Yeah,
said he's going to be the next Harry Kane. Harry Kane has scored 100 and no, how many goals has he scored now? 180 odd in the Premier League.
he's our record goal scorer, isn't he? He's
Yeah.
so
So you
yeah.
no pressure.
But I just think he's gonna not become the next Harry Kane, as in like he's gonna become a club legend. I mean, he's gonna be our next academy great. Is what I meant.
Right, right. You got to
Yeah,
word it properly.
yeah. I mean, I'm not. We've been
You
doing
never
this
know.
now
He
for
might. He might. He might. But you've just bought
yeah.
Solanke. So how does he get in the team?
I think he'll be
Cut.
like he'll be bled. He'll be bled in eventually. He won't like. He's not gonna make like 38 appearances or whatever. But I feel like he's gonna be using the Europa League squad and all that sort of
I'm
stuff.
going to give
So
you a rogue one. I'll give you a rogue one for Tottenham.
here we go. Should we do one each? I'll do one for. I'll do
Yeah.
one for West
Yeah, do
Ham.
one
Yeah,
for
go
West
on then.
Ham. Vicario gets dropped mid-season.
Oh no! Go away for who? Fraser Forster.
Whoever your backup keeper is, I don't know who
I
he
don't
is.
actually know Alfie Whiteman and bloody. We got just English players just as
Just
backups.
imagine big German full crew
Oh,
dominating him,
stop!
mate.
No,
Oh
I'm
my
not gonna. I'm not
God.
gonna enjoy facing West Ham as always. But I'm gonna come up with one for you then. West Ham to get red. No.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Um. I see. I think you're gonna have an all right season. I think you're winning the transfer window. Um. But I think halfway through the season, you're going to get like 5-0 loss, and someone's like, there's good. I feel like there'll be murmurs halfway through the season, and
I feel
people will
like we're
be.
guaranteed Crystal Palace is a
Mm.
guaranteed 5-0 loss. So
They'll be
we'll,
popping it around.
we'll get at least
Fulham,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
Fulham popping it around. Kilman's turned into
Chelsea,
Kilman.
man. Not Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea battered us 5-0 last year as well. Man.
Kilman will wish he were playing futsal again. So,
Uh,
but right, so that's all our predictions. So again, not too controversial, but we'll have to see at the
yeah,
end of the
we're
season.
not enough fighting in this video for Tottenham West Ham fans.
It's because we're both positive. I
It's
think halfway through the
mutual.
season,
There's a mutual respect.
yeah, halfway through the season, I'll be like going at your throat, mate. So
It's still
in the
funny.
group chat.
Little old West Ham. Little old West
Oh,
Ham in the conversations. We love it.
what are we making the big six, the big 7, 8, 9, 10 now? It's just
Yeah, let's get in there. We don't like Man United. Get Man United down. Let West Ham in. Let West Ham in. Get Man United out.
oh God. But yeah, so guys, that's all of our predictions for West Ham and Tottenham. Over on Luke's channel, we've done something a bit different. We've done the same categories, but for the whole of the Premier League. So who is actually going to pick up the top accolades, you could say. And also we've done Premier League tables. So go over there, check it out. Luke's just launched his channel and he's got a TikTok as well that's really good as well. Luke, do you want to plug anything? Anyone go to anything in particular?
Follow me on TikTok. Bailey Talks Ball. Bailey spelt with a double E, not EY.
Yeah, I
And
couldn't
what's
find
my
it.
YouTube? Yeah, I need it. Yeah. Bailey is the most generic name in the world. So trying to get
Mm.
that handle's been crazy. So I've had to go Bailey EE.
Yeah.
That's my
Not
YouTube
sponsored by
channel
E.
and TikTok. Yeah, not sponsored by EE. Are they even still a thing? I don't even know.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with them.
EE,
But
of
yeah,
course you are.
well, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, the Tottenham phone providers or something.
Yeah, oh yeah, you are. Yeah, to be fair.
But yeah, so hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe, notification bell, become a member in the link in the description down below. And also, as I said at the top of the video, me and Luke are going to be doing this hopefully every week on our channels. So if you come up with a title or what you think it should be called, what you want us to talk about, because on my channel it's mainly going to be Spurs and West Ham content, and on Luke's channel it's going to be a little bit of everything, I believe. So yeah,
We love
so
ball.
yeah,
Love
we love
talking ball.
we love ball, we love kicking it, we love eating it. I don't even know.
Eating it.
But yeah, I think I'm losing my head in this heat. But yeah,
Yeah,
like and
mate.
subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye
Peace.
bye.